Better do that. Call the Washington County Services Committee to order and ask Mr. Willie Lemming to lead us in prayer and pledge.
If y'all will stand. Father, I just want to say thank you for the beautiful weather you've been giving us. Father, just be with all of our leaders. Father, just go with us as we conduct this meeting tonight and choose the right things to do for you. And I ask all this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Are there any changes to the agenda? If no changes,
Move to adopt the agenda.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Mr. Johnson, I think you've been the one that's kind of initiated this conversation about the equipment, so you opened up for us.
All right. We've talked about this for a while, and let me tell you quickly what we think some of the improvements of the system are, and then we're going to see a demonstration in a few minutes. First of all, upgrading so that those of us who don't hear very well can hear better. With this system, not only the members of this court, anybody that has hearing aids that are Bluetooth to their iPhone will be able to put a free app on that, push a button, and everything that is spoken into the microphones will go direct to their hearing aids without all the gadgets and all of that stuff. And that applies to anybody in the audience also. So it's going to address those issues. It's going to improve the sound quality for everybody. It will add a TV monitor for every JP so that those of us that can't see what's on that monitor when there's a presentation made will be able to see it. Patty will be able to control these monitors. The intent is to put a monitor in the lobby so when there's an overflow crowd that either the meeting will be displayed to them or whatever's being presented will be displayed to them. There's discussion of an option of getting each JP an iPad that they will have to be able to do additional research both here and at home on it. Part of this system, you can see and they'll show the display, the monitor with the name on it over there. Everybody will have a card, so when you sit down, you put your card in the machine, your name comes up on that. So for committee meetings, when we're shuffling around, the shuffling of the nameplates and all that stuff will go away. On the monitors, the voting results will be shown in front of each JP as the votes are taken. The intent is to do away with the desk and put a podium there instead of the desk, and then also to modify this horseshoe, pull it back, get it more in a curved shape. We can move everything back, make a larger seating area out there. So with that, I think we're ready for the demonstration and we'll ask questions.
Okay, who's going to handle the demonstration? Okay. Would you introduce yourself? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Carl.
First, I'd like all right. First, our IT team has done some diligence, and they will, this group that's presenting tonight, they've selected them as the first group, their first choice. And as always, as this committee wants to move forward, we move forward in that direction, or if we want additional, you have that option. So this is our first presentation with that in mind, and I really want to, they did a lot of diligence looking at all the groups. Okay?
Okay, how many groups did they look at?
How many did we look at?
We researched several, I think three that we looked at.
Three.
Before we started.
They started with 3. This group also is on the
TAPS program.
state TAP program, which is selected by the state for its preferred contractors. With that in mind, let's have the
Okay.
presentation.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, presentation.
Thank you. My name is Jim Cruz. I'm with Commercial Audio Systems, and we are the designers and the vendors putting this equipment together. We've actually worked with the county now for 15, 20 years doing all the courtrooms and items like that. Quickly on this system, we were approached to cover 3 or 4 main items. The 3 or 4 main items, one was the voting. That was really, really important to everybody, that you don't have to take a vote every time something comes up and ask how many, and Patty's feverishly writing down who voted how and all this other stuff. So the way these systems work, and we can show you, we have some set up over there for demos. Each person will have a card that they carry, and as soon as you get to your station, wherever you're going to be sitting, you insert your card into the side of this. That addresses the computer and says, she's here, or he's here. And it will also put your name up digitally on these signs above everybody, so you don't have to change your name tags every time there's a different court thing going on here. So now the room knows you're here, okay? So if there's going to be a vote by the chairperson has a special touch panel that will start the vote. So you're going to initiate the vote. So now all the voting members on their podium, it'll have a green button, a red button, and a yellow button. So it's yes, no, or abstain. So the computer already knows whose button that is. So when you press yes, it counts and it tells her that he voted yes, she voted no, she abstained, or whatever. And then as soon as you push voting over, it will tally it up and put it on the screen. We've got a screen sitting here. The screen is just for demo. This screen will put on these for the audience. She'll be able to send it to YouTube so everybody can see the vote. We're having individual 16:9 monitors sitting at each one of your stations, so you'll actually be able to see it, or you'll be able to see the agenda or whatever she decides to send to you. Okay, so that was one of the real important parts. One of the other important parts is the ability to let somebody speak. So let's say that you just made a motion and there's 4 people that want to talk about it real quick. Those 4 people have to push the button on their microphone. It does not turn on their microphone, it just tells you these people want to speak. So it is now you get to say, okay, you may speak. Now, you may speak, you're done. Now, you may speak, that kind of thing. So it lets you have control of who's speaking, when they're speaking, you're done speaking, that kind of thing. One of the other items he mentioned and brought up, it's really a new item, but we felt that this is the best environment for this item. What he was talking about for the hearing assistance system, if you want me to go on this just a little bit, is a device now that goes from your sound system and it goes to your Wi-Fi. So now we can talk to your building's Wi-Fi, and you've already got it, it's already built in. And everybody here probably has a smartphone, right? Mm-hmm. Probably everybody. So there will be a sign at the door that says, if you need this, go to this app on your phone. It takes 5 seconds, download it, it's free, you're done. So what it does is it couples this room sound system to that app on your phone, and then your app on your phone, if you have a hearing aid that's Bluetooth, which a lot of people do, it will talk, your phone will talk from your phone to your hearing aid. So you don't put on anything, you don't ask for anything, you don't tell anybody anything. So, a lot of people won't wear something. They just don't want to wear it. They just don't feel like they need it. That's a really big thing. A lot of the courtroom judges we deal with in Pulaski County, they have hearing aids that are Bluetooth themselves, and they much prefer to use their own personal devices. Plus, when you go home, a lot of you will have a Bluetooth transmitter on your TV, and they use that for their hearing aids too. So it's already built in. We're just helping it, get a little further into this business. And this is part of the quote that's already there. Any questions so far? I know I'm talking fast, but
I've got one.
Yes, sir.
If you have more than 4 people that indicate they want to speak, how many people will it handle in the
I believe
line?
it'll handle all 16, right? Yeah. This, by the way, this is Gary Stevens, and he's with the manufacturer's
Okay.
rep firm that
So
does all technical.
as each person touches the button, that kind of puts them in sequence?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
All right. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. What about as far as voting goes? If you've decided to change your vote or you accidentally voted the wrong way, are you able to change that vote after?
You can do a revote.
Do a revote, okay.
Yeah, so I guess when you push the button, that's your vote. And then if you decide to do a revote, you'd have to do it that way. How do
You'd
you
have to call for a revote if,
I believe so.
Okay.
Is that how you do it now, if you decided to change your mind?
no.
You just yell, I
Yeah.
changed my mind?
Record the voting. Does it wait until everybody votes and then it puts up how they voted? Or does it show the sequence in which people are voting?
We could actually show you that if you'd like. We had it on earlier, or we could wait till you guys are done and then show you if you want to see it. But, so the chair will initiate the vote, and he will have so much time that he's going to give, or you can do it on the screen. It says how much time's remaining on the vote, just like they do in the House of Representatives. And as soon as that time's up, he'll push vote closed. And when the vote's closed, it tallies them all up and says, here's the results. And then I believe in the record, it'll go back and show her later, who voted how. Because if you were a congressman, everybody's wanting to know how you voted for our state, that kind of thing. Yes, ma'am?
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
it tallies the vote, but it doesn't tell the individual vote.
Yes.
How does, okay. Does that go up on the screen as a person votes?
So the way it's
Or
programmed.
does it just tally it and put it up there?
So the way it's programmed out of the box, so this is a very programmable system. The way it's programmed out of the box, when he says we're done voting, it'll say, 14 yay, 2 nay, 3 abstained, done. She will have a record of how people voted, and then if you decide, well, we want the public to see that too, she can administer that. She can put that up on the screen. So everything's changeable. We can put it on there if you want it on
So
there.
people don't really know how people voted until she puts it up on the screen?
Right, unless you guys decide you want it to be up there full time.
Is that just
I don't,
is that just a programmable
Yes,
thing?
it's totally a program. So it's pretty customizable. I don't know why people wouldn't want to see how you voted, but, you can do it that way or you can do it the other way.
okay.
So, okay. I guess one of the things, when we do a voice vote or so forth, sometime I think we will be undecided and watch the crowd and how they're voting or hear comments about it if you have a screen option so you can see who's voting, it might impact your own vote. But I guess that'd be selectable too. We could go ahead and set that up either way. It's programmable.
I would think the voting part's going to be yes, no, or abstain, I'm guessing. And if you're undecided until you see how the crowd, you might have to wait till the very last 5 seconds to vote, would be my guess. I don't think you can change the program of how you vote.
Okay. But what I'm saying, it doesn't show up on the screen. When people are punching yes or no, it doesn't show up on the screen so you can see how everybody's voting.
No, it's
Okay.
not going to show up until you say voting closed.
Okay?
It's like show your
right.
cards.
Okay, a lot of other questions. Any other questions? Anybody want to ask about the cost? Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Johnson?
If this court authorizes this money, how much time are we talking to have a system here operating?
30 days.
How much?
30
30 days?
Yeah, I would say in case something's back ordered, let's say 2 weeks to acquire the equipment, and then 5 days to 14 days to get it installed, because we'll have to work around your schedule too. We pretty much know every wire that's in this room now, so, because we've had to come back and fix it from the last vendor, and we're pretty good to go. Now, including on this proposal is all the additional items. For example, to be able to put a vote on these screens takes more inputs and outputs on your main system in the room. So we've already included all that. We've included all the wiring and how it's going to make all these 16 monitors work. We've included the monitors, to go out in the hallway here and be able to listen and see on that monitor. Patty will put on her touch panel who gets to see what out there. What do they need to see? They need to see this camera? Do they need to see the voting? That kind of thing. Any presentation that I might be doing, I want to put up. Patty's in control of that pretty good right now. Have y'all been watching the YouTube part of these? Y'all like
have,
everything like that? Is that good?
Yep. Any other questions?
One more.
I'm sorry?
What's the cost?
what's the cost involved here?
The total package, I believe, was 74.9 is what it's on the proposal. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe that's what that is. And that's. 74.8, and that's including everything.
Without the iPads, we would,
Mike,
decided to do that. You're supposed to cue me. The iPads are another $4,600 if we opted to do that also.
That's actually with the county, right? That's with Lisa.
well, you also mentioned reconfiguration of the horseshoe.
Hadn't done that.
You also mentioned reconfiguration of the horseshoe.
Yeah, that's different. That's not a part of it. I can't even talk at the same time. That's not part of this proposal. That is something we do with inmates, is that correct? Brian?
Yeah, that's something we've talked about, if that was necessary. That would be something we'd look at contracting out with the inmates, the same ones that did Judge Taylor's courtroom, because it's really cheap. They do a good job, but that would be completely separate from this system upgrade.
Our company also did Judge Taylor courtroom and most all the courtrooms in Washington County, in Benton County, and Madison County, as far as touch panels, the distance arraignment video conferencing. We actually started that in Benton County, and that's about to take off here in this county too. So that's kind of a nice thing.
Okay.
So the problem we're having just now with him starting his mic and stopping his mic, that's something that you will take care of, in the future.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would it alleviate the problem that the hearing impaired person has, that they can't speak and hear at the same time?
Yes. Yes, and he should be able to, unless he's plugging into the old system right now. The old system, the way it works, it's like a headphone jack on your laptop. As soon as you plug in your headphone, it kills the external speakers. So what was happening was whenever he would press to talk, it would shut off his speaker, and his speaker is his headphones.
Oh, yes. I sat next to Robert Dennis for 4 years, and
Right.
yes, he is hearing
So
impaired as well.
the way we have him fixed up now in your system, it's part of the old hearing assistance system, and it's all RF, radio frequency, and you can have a receiver on your belt pack, and you can have a hearing little phone you put in your ear, or he could put a loop around his neck, and it will couple magnetically to his hearing aids. Kind of a pain because nobody wants to put anything around their neck. So right now he's plugged in, and that's why he can't talk and hear at the same time. The other way, it's always on. It doesn't matter if he's talking, singing, if it's off, it doesn't matter. And then the newest way, he won't have to wear anything anymore. It's just always on. And that's for any person that owns a cell phone and has a hearing aid. And if you have a cell phone, you can plug in a headphone to it too. So you don't have to have hearing aids.
Second point, as a reminder, Judge Zimmerman has dibs on this old system. She asked for it, and we all kind of agreed that she should have it, just as a way of reminder. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You say she already has a system like this?
No, she has
she has
dibs on
this?
this
Oh, I see.
system.
Oh, I see.
Yes, do you remember she came in and immediately
Yeah, yeah.
put her name on it?
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
thank you.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm feeling a little lost here because I'm not quite sure I understand the magnitude of what we're undertaking. I didn't particularly like the laptops that set up that I was supposed to be glued to watching, and now we're going to have a TV monitor at our desks. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is a 10-inch by 6-inch, I believe. So it's only this big.
How high up is it?
It's only 6 inches tall. So it's very,
It's
very
taller
small.
than this.
And it's probably going to lean towards it, so probably not going to be in your eyesight.
Okay, and that thing is going to stick up here that far?
Well, that we're still in discussion about because it's not made for this furniture. This furniture is already here, and that is that big. So it either needs to be mounted down below.
So
or
we'll
cut
have to
in.
remodel the
We got
furniture.
to do something or not have it, but I
Okay.
kind of think that's a pretty neat idea.
Because I don't want us to be blocked from being seen by
Right.
the public to look
Right.
like we're hiding behind equipment or nameplates.
Yeah, there was extensive discussion about remodeling the furniture. They even went to a place in Oklahoma that we did a couple of years ago that has some really nice furniture that's meant, for you to be able to see over what you have there.
Do we have a price tag on remodeling the furniture?
That was at a later date, I think.
Yeah.
No, that's not something, we've not looked at that. We've not gotten them to come out and draw up anything that's ancillary to this. I think the big thing was in looking at whether or not the quorum court was wanting to upgrade the system or not. And then if we upgrade, what would it be looking at if we were to go in and remodel? And the only reason we've talked about that is our IT has told us that one of the main problems that this system has always had is the wiring within this system and how it's been piecemealed over years. And so in order to get something set up, if we wanted to, and depending on the cost, the court could look at the possibility of upgrading the horseshoe to where it's all put in together at one time and it's done and wired, and there's not any of the wiring issues, I guess, way I understand it.
Well, I think we might need to have an electrician look at what we've got. Maybe it just needs a little bit of work done on the wiring, but
We have an electrician that works for the county, and it's
Okay.
been an issue for that particular electrician, as long as they've worked for the county, has been the wiring here has had some issues. From what I understand, I haven't been around that long, that's my understanding.
okay. Well, I'll listen, but I was frankly surprised that this had come up. Thank you.
Good.
Is that easily accessible? Can I pick that Sam Houston name tag up and bring it over here? Because we
Absolutely.
could just right now look in that monitor and see what it would look like.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be name tag, and this one,
Right.
kind of looking on the
Okay.
monitor.
Yeah.
That monitor's gonna change.
Yeah, the monitor's gonna be on your desk
Put a
now.
podium there.
So that's the purpose of having the little TV screen in front of you, is to get rid of this.
Yeah,
So
but I'm also
you don't have to
saying,
look at this
like,
anymore.
the camera direction also, it's like my head's right above this, so like for,
Yeah, but on new furniture mounted down
if we
here,
had.
and then put your TV screen right here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's if you decide to use that. That's not something you have to use, but it's handy to have. And you can actually put two people on one of those. So if you wanted to put it in between you two. Isn't that right?
Is there any way you can go ahead and put the material that we'll be seeing on the TV monitor on the computers?
No.
I figured having two pieces of electronics in front of us might be kind of cumbersome.
Right. The only way to do that we would have to stream it from Patty to the laptops, right? If they wanted to put everything on that. Yeah, so you'd have to stream it, and I'm not sure how reliable that would be. But for right now, yeah, the screen and the laptop. And I'm not sure what the laptop's for. Do you want to discuss on the laptop at all, or? Would y'all like to hear from the laptop lady?
I'm sorry?
Would you like to hear from Lisa at the laptops?
I don't know.
The laptops?
Yeah, the use of them.
Okay, so the use, I'm Lisa Tolan, I'm the Assistant Director with the Information Technology Department. And the laptops were so you guys could view the agenda as you were going through the meeting. And the little small screens will actually eliminate that feature. So you'll see real-time, every presentation given up here at the podium, you'll see real-time her going through the agenda so no one gets lost trying to scroll through it because they've meandered past where you actually are. That was one of the main purposes of the laptop. This will actually free up space on your desktop by having the small passive monitors.
Well, the only issue is sometimes we'll be focused on one particular area that maybe was being discussed, but we want to dig into more details about it.
Right, and that's
Which-
why we suggest having the iPads, because they're smaller in their hand and they're mobile. They're, again, less cumbersome than the laptops. You can look up anything you want on the
I see.
iPad if you're
I
wanting
see.
to look up a
Yeah,
website
yes, ma'am.
or,
Yeah, okay. Yes, ma'am.
So am I to understand that we're going to have two devices?
the iPads are optional.
Okay, why don't, I have enough iPads in my house, I don't need another one.
And if you want to use your own, it's something that you can check out if someone doesn't have one.
Well, but I guess my
Check it
question
out.
is Miss Patty will be controlling what's on the screen in
Yes.
front of us, so we won't be able to like look at something that's coming up on the agenda on our own?
You can on the iPad, just not on that stationary one.
I think it's going to be a little much for all of us to try to deal with 2 devices at one time. I just really think, that's a lot.
The monitor will also give you guys the ability to see, every time someone comes up here and does a presentation, you're straining to see it on this TV, it will be right in front of you as well, where you don't have that feature at this moment.
Basically, the only thing that the TV would do is give us a viewing of
It will
exactly
also
what's going
show
on.
you real time, as the votes are tallied, you'll know immediately when something is passed. You'll be able to see that instead of going, did that pass? Did that pass? How many votes was that? You'll see instantly
Well, one
on
of the things
on
is
your monitor.
that our voting has always rotated.
Yeah.
And I think that's been sort of part of the nature of it, because the concept of all of us voting at once and then just waiting to see, I think is a bigger change than really anybody's thought about. But I'm not a fan of having to have 2 devices, because I have a personal device already that I rely on because it's got my email and things that, are sent out on the agenda and that I refer to. And so if for me to follow along with the meeting and then have an iPad that has something else, I think is asking a bit much, because that's like having 2 computers, or 3 even, if you're using a personal device. I just don't think that's very efficient.
Yes, sir.
Sydney would like to say something.
Whenever we first started, looking at sound systems, one of the first places we went was City of Fayetteville. And they're the ones, their city council has a monitor display, and they issue iPads to everybody. That's where we got that concept at. So, and they say it's worked well for them for several years, but this system we're proposing is just an idea that we think would be helpful. You have to decide if it will be efficient for you.
Well, one of the things that's, and Miss Patty knows, I've now requested everything in writing, because I've got to be able to have something to take home and keep a record of what we did. I have to be able to take notes. So if I don't choose to get a laptop and I just have to get one every meeting when I come in, I don't have anything to take home to keep as a record of what I've done that night.
Well, this will be issued to
But I don't want
somebody
another,
permanently.
I have a lot of devices at my house with kids and everything. I don't want another laptop. I have 2 phones as it is, one for work, one for personal. So please don't give me another device. But I've got to be able to keep some record of what we do, our agendas, because I do score, I'll write down whether something passed or what the vote was. Where's that record going to be for me?
So this, like Lisa was saying, will give more counter space for some people that take physical notes. You'll have more space because it'll just be a small screen that you'll be following on.
But where's the agenda that's mine to keep?
The agenda's online, that you can get.
Sometimes. If you look back to try to find some agendas that are not always there. And then it's important for me to know that what I'm seeing physically is what matches up to what's online. I want to keep a record of what I saw at that meeting and voted on at that meeting. I think it's important.
Okay. I think our presenter wants to make some more comments.
I can help out that a little bit. So, the way the computer system works, the way the computer system works is everything that's happened that evening, as far as voting, agendas, everything that's happened that sends down to Patty, it has a record of, and it will print a copy and just email it to you if you'd like, or she could print a paper copy of it. But it keeps a record of everything that's went on here, except for personal discussion. It's not going to record personal discussion. But as far as things you did, things you voted on, how it voted, did it pass, did it not pass, what the agenda was this evening, could be home for you time you get home.
Patty to do it all?
Well, it's generated by the computers. The computer automatically does it. She just says print report or send report or make report. It's part of, this is what this system does. It keeps track of what you're wanting and what you're asking for is not, uncommon. That's very common.
Well, are the TV monitors an optional part of this deal,
Nope, they're included.
sir?
They're included.
Okay, all right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. What was my question? So can we do voting in real time? That's how the U.S. Congress does it. That's how, that way the public has time to see how everybody's voting
I think
as
so.
we do it.
Let me refer to the expert on that, but, so they can put it up on the screen, and
Right.
you can see how many yeses are going, how many noes are
And
going.
us as well.
Right. I saw that the other night on TV, too. I was
Yeah,
watching that.
yeah.
And along, it had a countdown counter on it, too, saying how much time was left.
The thing I just worry about is that if constituents are here, depending on their representative for a vote, and they're
Right.
not able to hear that immediately, or it gets flashed on the screen, it's not enough time for everyone, to figure it out. I feel like a real-time vote in the way that our U.S. government does it would be,
Right, that's really
Better.
what this is modeled after, is that type of voting system. And on the little TVs along everybody's desk, Patty will make a selection of what you're going to see. So if you want to see what everybody looks like on YouTube right now, she'll send you a live feed, and you can see that. Or if I'm doing a presentation and the audience sees it, and you can kind of see it, she'll put it up there so you guys can have it right there, so you'll see it right here too. So everything is, specifically meant for what you're doing at that time, not for research. It's just what's going on right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I assume that this is going to improve the sound quality on YouTube. That has been
Immensely.
immensely. Okay, I don't even have to follow
Yeah,
up with
that's
that
actually a
question.
feed from this old system is what YouTube is getting right now.
I know
And that's all gonna be
constituents have told
replaced.
me they're very frustrated and they can't hear.
It's distorted. Things like, some other things we could address is like how the prayer is handled. Like right now, we all stand up and Willie leads us in prayer, but Willie's mic's not on, so it doesn't
Correct.
sound very good. Now, if you want to, the chairperson could say, Willie's gonna lead us in a prayer, and you actually turn his mic on for him, something
Okay.
like that. So there's some options we can do there. But yes, that's all built into the new system.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
J.P. Harbison?
I'm concerned about the cost. Do we have, like, if we're going to do the horseshoe, redo that, is that going to come out of building and grounds? Do we have any money at all in the IT department that can be used for these upgrades? Or are we going to have to appropriate all of this out of unappropriated reserves? And our reserves are going down. So I want to know, we've got 3 different costs. I want to know where this money's coming from, that we're going to pay for this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Does the IT department have any question or any ideas about that, or what your situation is relative to costs? How about coming to the mic so we can hear you, please, sir?
If the court decided to move forward with this, it would be, as far as I know, unappropriated reserves.
Unappropriated reserves.
Right.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm glad J.B. Harbison brought this up, because when I first saw we were going to have a meeting, part of me assumed we were going to discuss the county's radio system that we somehow seem to be neglecting. That I know J.P. Lemming has been a big participant in that, but I've been told our radio equipment is seriously outdated. We have a need for some new towers in some parts of the county. Our coverage is not good, and we're talking about emergency services and people's lives, not a convenience here. And I just want to make sure we have our priorities straight. And for me, a new radio system is a very high priority for the county. That's an obligation that we have to our citizens. This is, I'm not really sure who this benefits, and I'm a little worried that there's not a way for me to opt out of this system if we go with it. And there's times that technology can be good, and there's times it can be extremely frustrating, and I won't talk about all my frustrating moments, but, and there's times that it just absolutely fails. And I think what JP, Eva Madison was saying about how we take turns voting who goes first. I mean, at some point, we're all on the line to vote how we're going to vote first. And with this system, having watched it in the Arkansas House, there were always people who watched that board and waited till the very last minute to vote because they wanted to vote on the winning side. And I'm not built that way. And I'm not sure that should be a reason for how we vote. And that would be encouraging that. So I want to see us buy radios, good up-to-date radios where all our radios can talk to each other and be on the same frequency or whatever the right terminology is. And maybe our next meeting we'll talk about radios. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I just want to tell Sue that we have a meeting August 1st in Little Rock to talk to AWIN, and I would say our next Service Committee meeting, we'll have something ready to tell everybody. Thank you.
You know what? I think Mr. Gales and the judge are kind of getting aggravated at me because I've been pushing on some of these issues so hard. So I've been promised that we'll have a number of reports back for our next meeting. Okay, yes, ma'am. I see.
Go on and make a motion that we send this to the quorum court to make a decision on. We don't have all of our members here this evening, and I think it's important enough to go on and send it to the quorum court with further discussion.
Well, would it not have to go budget first?
Yes, it would have, because it's money.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
It's money.
So we'd have to we'd have to send it to budget.
But everybody is involved.
Yes,
So
that's
I make a
true.
motion that it be sent to the to the finance.
Budget and finance.
And budget
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
for
Okay.
further discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
This doesn't have to do with the motion, but it brings to mind the American Disabilities Act. So if you are hearing impaired, this would help.
Okay.
If you are, so I think we need to consider those that have disabilities and they can't hear, and this system does not help that. It impedes their hearing. And it is frustrating when you can't hear and decipher what is going on in a room. So, whether or not we have to comply with the American Disabilities Act or not, I don't know, but I think that's something that we need to be cognizant of. Thank you, sir.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second? Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Can we get an itemized statement on each price? Well, it doesn't have the price of each item.
We can do that. And again, on this, we put together, or the IT department put together a pretty comprehensive, here are some options. It's not an all or nothing thing. And so one thing we were asked by JP Johnson, and it had also been talked about when JP Dennis was here, was the hearing issue involved with this current system and the fact that it goes down. So this was just put out as a, hey, here's a starting point, things for the quorum court, the committees to consider and see what it is that the committee and the quorum court felt like was the most needed, if any, and move forward there. So this isn't an all or nothing thing necessarily. It's kind of just a starting point of discussion to have the information out in front of you all, because ultimately it's your decision to decide how this is because of the funding. I think if the IT had it in their budget, they would make that decision and you'd get what you get. And so this was something that we, the judge's administration, looked at, did a lot of research, looked at a lot of things to say, what is it, we know we have an actual need, what are other things that could be beneficial, and we'll let the quorum court tell us what they want, and that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Along that line, may I direct my questions to our attorney?
Say again?
May I direct my questions to our
Sure.
attorney?
Oh, please do.
Okay. Is what we have a bare bones stripped down to the most essential part to helping people who can't hear, or is this the pie in the sky? This would make everything super duper. Where are we on the scale of 0 to 100 on what we have before us?
You mean this that's been presented? This includes a lot of options that aren't required. So it's not a bare bones what we're doing. There are a lot of options here, such as the monitors and things that would assist. The problem you have is right now with this monitor, the people that sit on the ends are complaining that they can't see what's going on. And so a monitor that's closer would allow everybody to see what the public sees. And that's all it is. It's just like that monitor. You can't change it, you can't touch it, you can't do anything. The monitor's here. So that was just something we looked at as an option to aid people that were having a hard time seeing what was on the screen and reading what was on the screen, because that's another issue with, from planning boards to committee meetings, there are a lot of times when people present that it's hard to see. We just looked at it to see what that option was. It's just an option. It's an add-on. It really, what is bare bones is what the court determines is bare bones and what the court wants to do.
Well, the problem that I have with this screen is that it's little. I mean, it's not nearly as big as that screen is. If there were one there behind the chairman that were that size, or I thought Carl had talked about putting them on opposite walls, but most of the time it's a presenter that has things there that are too small, not what we are presenting or what our staff is presenting. And what the staff presents often has, reference in front of us on paper. So this is just one set of options.
This is multiple sets of options, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I think the TV screens need to be on the back of those TV screens. That'd be a perfect place for them. That's a perfect place for them.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to say that I would like for it to go to the full quorum court, but I think our money tree that we spending money every time we come up here, that we got a lot of projects open that we can't seem to get closed, we're going to have to slow down. And I really would like to get it to where they could hear, because that's really important. So I'm going to be voting to send it to the quorum court, but we're going to have to look at it more and study it, budget and finance. So I think that's my opinion on it.
Go ahead.
I like Mr. Lemming's idea of putting at least one big monitor on one side or the other, or both. Would that not be less expensive than several individual monitors around and also on the hearing part of this, the audio. Through the years, I've served on the court with several people that wore hearing aids, not just the couple that have been mentioned or the one present, the one we have now, one or two. And I'm unsure that sometime or other, some of those people might have cast a vote a different way had they been able to hear everything that was going on. And we do need to be concerned about people in the future deciding whether they would like to represent the people in their district. And that it shouldn't be, they shouldn't say, well, it's not possible because I wear a hearing aid and sometimes I miss things. So it's a hearing impaired discrimination not to do what we can on that audio part. I'm in favor of sending this on to finance and budget. There's time that way people that are here now or who read about this can think about it in the meantime. And I'll repeat that one part. Looks to me like that would be a good place for a couple of monitors up there where we could all see. It is, I sit on the end normally during the quorum court meeting, and you can't see that screen. If it was larger, if you put it right there, it would still not be. It would,
Yeah.
so, anyway, just some thoughts.
Mr. Lemming?
When y'all say there's going to be a podium there, if we change it, when y'all's talking screens, I know we're going to have the little ones, but we're going to have a big one somewhere on the podium or something, right? Or wrong? So we're just gonna have little screens altogether? Yep.
So the little individual screens, we have 16 of them, I think. It would almost be a wash to put these two up versus the price of these. These little ones are $150 a piece. So add all that up and it's about the price of two big ones. So that's kind of a wash. You could do either way on that one. If you don't want to have it down there, if you'd rather have it up here, that's really simple to do. So
So if we took that one there on the back of that and we bought one more that size and put up there, what would the wiring cost?
it's not so much the wiring as it is the
The
ability.
system will control it?
Yeah, to be able to send it when she needs to send it. So there's a little bit more, and that's actually in the first part of the proposal. That's kind of the equipment that's needed to make this stuff work. So that's already there. You'll be
So would
fine.
the equipment work these big TVs we already have then?
Yes, and it is. And then the new equipment will work the TV out in the hallway, you know, the other TVs here, that kind of thing. The areas to consider price-wise are the new microphones and the ability to vote and the ability to use the microphones in order. That's a big part of the money you're looking at. We felt like that was kind of a priority, but I'm kind of hearing now maybe that's not as much as a priority as hearing assistance is, video screens are, the ability to still put it outside and make it sound better in here. So just kind of an FYI, that middle part's like $30-something thousand, I think. And so if that's not necessary, I think it is though, because you complain about these microphones a lot.
Well, I think that between now and the time this gets to the full quorum court, you'll have a lot of suggestions.
Well, and we definitely like to have suggestions, that's no problem. We also have some wireless mics in here that was requested by Mr. Lester, I believe, for
I
using
think-
in the audience, to be able to get some speaking from some other people back in there.
Well, I think it's going to be nice for the chairperson to be able to allow, say, 4 of us put our number in and however order that number comes in. I think it's going to be good that he can control it.
Right.
And he don't have to watch everybody raise their hands and holler and whistle, because that's what we're doing now.
And that's one of the big costs, that's one of the big parts of this.
Yeah, but
So I
we
think
might
it's-
have to weigh that cost out. It may not be worth it right now.
Right, so, well, that and the voting part is part of that.
And if we can get the sound in the TVs for everybody can hear it, and we can get everybody to hear good, that may be what we need to go with. But I'm just saying, let's look at it all.
Sure.
See where we go.
Ann, go ahead.
Well, that was sort of my question. If we just got new microphones with the ability for the Bluetooth to be used with people that have hearing problems and do everything else like we've done it in the past, how much is that going to cost? Can you do that?
Well, just to buy new microphones isn't going to solve any problems. The microphones are part of this computer system. So that's really part of a big package. We can't just, matter of fact, we actually looked at doing that when we first started having meetings with the IT department, just putting in new microphones and some new software. But then it kind of grew from there. It's like, well, we'd like to have the ability to shut off these microphones or to turn on these microphones or to have people sit here and the microphone comes on automatically. And then, since we're doing that, can we do it with voting? And so that's all one package, and you just buy licenses as you go. And that's what, that $30,000 on that middle section, that's where that is right now. So yes.
So
just
these microphones that you have will not work without the computer system?
That is correct. These are computer-driven microphones.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are you ready for a vote? All right, we have a motion and a second. Let's vote. Ms. Patty, you want to call the roll?
We're voting to send it to.
We're voting to send this on to the Budget and Finance and subsequently to the quorum court based on passage from the Budget and Finance.
Yes.
Guess I better put my. Willie Lemming.
Yes.
Ann Harbison.
Yes.
And Butch Pond.
Yes.
That's on the committee.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, vote passed then? Okay, let's see, I guess the next thing on our deal is public comments. Anybody from public comments? Please introduce yourself, who you're with.
My name's Casey Wilson,
Mike, no. You got to push the button in the middle. There you go.
All right. My name's Casey Wilson. I'm with Harbor House. It's a nonprofit substance abuse and qualified behavioral health facility. We opened up right here, right a couple buildings down at 130 North College. We're headquartered out of Fort Smith, and we also are up here in Rogers at the Center for Nonprofits. Luckily, I'm here to try to present something to you guys that doesn't cost a thing. It's no charge for it, but it's an alternative sentencing program, and I've emailed a bunch of you on the quorum court kind of telling you about it, and was trying to meet with individual people separately and have meetings and discuss it. Basically, what it is, it's in the district courts, and you ask why I hadn't reached out to them, because I'm not having any luck. Tried your local state representative, Ms. Clowney. So in Fort Smith and Sebastian County, we started it in Greenwood, Arkansas as well, and the reason I come to you guys is because actually the county judge down there, David Hudson, was the one that really connected us with the district court judge in Greenwood to start this program. We've kept 275 people out of jail in Sebastian County, and you probably ask what is alternative sentencing. It's basically like a drug court. You've heard of drug court, that Judge Beaumont does. It's in the district courts and lasts 16 weeks, so it's like a miniature drug court in the district courts, but it's for theft, public intox, misdemeanor possession charges, and what we do is we provide counseling and report to the court if they're compliant coming to their counseling and group therapy, and we work with them on a holistic approach, trying to get them towards working and improving their quality of life. And I have some packets here for everyone if you'd like one, or if I get time to pass them out. I also have an open letter from a district court judge in Fort Smith kind of validating the program. We are also doing it in Bentonville District Court, and working with Judge Bunt. She's a district court judge up there, and they come and see us at the Rogers Center for Nonprofits. Basically, I'm just here seeing if I can get any help from the quorum court in implementing this, or even contacts with the district court to maybe help with the jail overcrowding issue and things like that. Like I said, we solely do it in 3 different district courts, and we do it either with Adult Education Center or Goodwill. We offer a professional education class if they don't have any substance abuse or mental health issues, that they go towards getting work and things like that.
What kind of help do you need from the quorum court?
I don't know. Like I said, in Sebastian County, the county judge, David Hudson, is kind of the one that connected. So really, I need help connecting with your district court judge. Or, I know that y'all are the ones that deal with the burden of the budget, and dealing with the financial side of things. Okay. And I'm not able to try to implement a solution because no one is wanting to hear what I have to say. So, I'm just going through the different structures of government, trying to find someone that would be interested in this, because there's no charge. What we do is we sign up to receive our services. We sign them up for insurance. We bill insurance for it. We sign them up for the Arkansas Works program, and I'm just trying to start from a square one somewhere.
All right. Ms. Ann, do you have a question?
Comment, because I'm sure that any services that can be provided, there are no cost to the county, will be welcome. Yes. There are a lot of things going on right now, and I would suggest that you get with our ombudsman that we have hired. There's a group of people already working together, some faith-based groups, some other groups, and I think, if you hook up with that group, I'm sure that they're going to be able to use your services.
Okay.
So
I just need some guidance on how to hook up with that group. I don't know, I'm just...
Right. Well, but they're looking for people like you to help also.
Okay.
So, there's some things coming down the road that look very promising.
Yeah, and right now in 130 North College, we're working with Probation and Parole, the ACC office, it's Arkansas Community Corrections, and that's the reason we opened up here. We're right next to them, seeing their probationers and parolees before they send them to prison. They're trying to get them to work with us and see if we can improve their lives and them not
Basically, the focus of this group is pre-trial people that are sitting in jail that are not bailing out.
Oh.
So that, some of those people are gonna need some services too.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sure that your services can be used.
And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because in my head, I kind of have a pilot program for pretrial, to maybe work with a recovery coach, because we can do drug testing and everything and bill insurance. So we can kind of be like an unofficial probation officer, but we're working with them, trying to get them substance-free with acceptance,
Right.
commitment therapy, and solution-focused brief therapy, and report it to the sheriff. And, obviously, whenever people stop coming to their counseling or group therapies, usually they're relapsing or something's going wrong, and we can report that to the sheriff, and they could revoke like a own reconnaissance bond or something like that.
Okay, maybe we have a person in the back there. I didn't see her. She was hiding from me. Sarah Moore, hook up with her. I'm sure that your services can be used. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Madison?
I think one of the challenges is that the district judges are not part of county government. And so I think you'll have to work with the cities. And then, what we're mostly interested in is the felony arrest, which it sounds like you're mostly dealing with misdemeanor offenses. But I think that if there's going to be any buy-in to your program, it's going to have to come from the circuit judges to really have an impact on what we do.
Yeah, actually, I've met with Judge Beaumont, and she also kind of pointed me in y'all's direction as well, because we're going to be working with her drug court
Well, I
clients
think
as well.
Judge Lindsay and Judge Taylor, though, that do the other criminal dockets are probably the ones you're going to want to talk to. But
Okay.
if you're looking for help from us, for
Yeah.
the district judges, I think we can tell you we're probably not going to be helpful at all, because we don't,
Yeah.
we're obligated by state law to pay part of their expenses, and that's it. That's the only input we have. So I just don't know that there's a lot this body can do
Well, I
to
guess I
enable
was
your
more in
program.
hopes of maybe someone knows one of the judges lives down the road from them, and I know you're dealing with the burden of them putting them in jail and saying, hey, here's a great program, or, a program we heard about. Why don't you reach out to this guy and maybe set up a meeting?
Yep. Guys, I think his 3 minutes are up. Would you ask for additional time, or you want to just move on? Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Thank you, Casey. Okay, I guess we're about finished up here. More comments, okay.
Hi, Sarah Moore, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Going back to the conversation about what we were discussing tonight about the audio, I just had a couple of notes, and as it goes on to the full financial committee, I just wondered if maybe these are things that maybe can be a part of the discussion, maybe, is I like that he shared that you guys, or that the IT department went and looked at the city of Fayetteville, but I'm just curious what other city governments or county governments we looked at as well. Like, obviously, they probably considered some others, and I'm just curious what options were out there, like what was happening maybe in Benton County, what's happening maybe in Sebastian County. Do we talk to them and see if they have something different than Fayetteville? Because I know Fayetteville operates differently with their city government, differently than what we do here, and so I didn't know if there were other consideration sets that we had taken into account. And also the other thing, it's kind of anecdotal a little bit. My father-in-law is 80, and he recently in the last several years has started trying to use hearing aids, and they are very cumbersome for him and very frustrating for him. But he also tends to not be able to participate in conversations and be a full part of the conversation 50% of the time. But I will tell you, as much as a lot of people do have technology, there's a lot of folks in our county that will need to come and participate in county government from time to time that do not use technology. And so I love that we're taking into account that a lot of people have cell phones and would be able to maybe use an app, but you're talking about downloading it when they're here. And I will tell you, I try to get on the county's Wi-Fi and it kicks me off all the time. So if you're not doing well with your data plan or what have you, you could have cumbersome things with trying to get the app to pull down. And then additionally, like while my 80-year-old father-in-law has a cell phone, I think it maybe is a flip phone. It definitely does not have like app capability. So I am always about having every voice possible as a part of the conversation in government, and they should be. And so I just want to make sure we're considering that we want to affect all users. And we would definitely be leaving out my father-in-law, which I would hate, and I don't want to leave out anybody other's grandpa or popo or what have you. So I hope that'll be taken into consideration as we go to the finance.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other public comments?
So to comment on the young lady's last comments, Benton County was actually invited to come tonight to witness some of this new technology. Washington County is light years ahead of Benton County's audio system or any recording system. They've realized recently that there's been a law passed that most public meetings have to be recorded now. So we're starting to get all these cities and county governments calling us now saying, hey, we have to do this. You by far are leading right now in technology. They're way behind. I mean, way behind. I mean, it's sad at how bad it is. To address the hearing assistance part, the cell phone part is the latest thing that is out there. I mean, it's real new within, I'd say within 3 months. They've just recently come out with this part. A lot of the older judges that we deal with, for example, in courtrooms in Fort Smith, courtrooms in Benton County, courtrooms in Washington County, that have hearing aids, they have Bluetooth built in them, and they can hear that way too. That is really on the top 3 of ways to help with the ADA requirements and to help people that just have a hard time hearing. The first part was via RF, and which is the basic system that you have and have had for a long time. The second part is RF with the inductance loop. Okay, so these 3 bases, and you're about to cover the third because you already have the first 2, will cover just about any possibility there is out there. I mean, if this person doesn't have a way of turning a flip phone on, you can still have the neck loop and hear that way, or you can still put a receiver up to your ear and hear that way. So I think you have all the bases covered on the ADA requirements.
Okay,
I think
all right.
everybody gets a vote.
All right, thank you, sir.
That's all.
Any other public comments? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.